Well, welcome back, my friends, to another rousing rendition. Choir Boys Cutler Outdoors. Work Tough Gear Wednesday rendition. Welcome in. Before we get too far into this, there was a time in this country where 22 veterans a day took their own lives. Now, depending on what you read and when you read it, stats are all over the place. The one that we are concerned with here is zero, the number zero. Anything over zero is simply unacceptable. And all that means, vets, is you have a place here. You're welcome here. Back to Blue, here we support all to the chagrin of many. How do you do that, Scab? Well, we don't break the damn law. And when we do, because we accept responsibility for it. And finally, if you are an addict, never quit quitting. So here's the deal, guys. Work Tough Gear Wednesday, I started some time ago. I absolutely adore it, and I love it. I started it for a couple of reasons. One is to say thank you for all Work Tough Gear has done for me, and I am greatly appreciative for that. The other reason, though, I started it was to kind of spread the word and get it out there. Work Tough Gear doesn't do any advertising. It's word of mouth only. And their products speak for themselves. So I thought by starting Work Tough Gear Wednesday, and it is catching on, which is good, but by starting that, we could get the word spread a little easier. And I'm appreciative to each and every one of you who have decided to participate and will participate, and thank you so much for that. So what we're doing today is this. I took 3 pocket fixed blades, 3 that I carry most of the time, honestly. The Mount Laguna, the NIJUKKO, and the NOMAD EDC. And what we're doing, I don't really do comparisons, and really you can't compare these blades. It's 3 distinct blade styles, 3 distinct handles, 3 different steels. What I'm going to do, though, real quick is run through, try to give you the specs on each, and then we'll talk a little bit about them. And we tried to do basically just a battery of things. We don't call them tests. There's nothing scientific about the shit we do. It's just we cut a bunch of stuff. We see how it works. Now, you do need to know that these knives have been used extensively. They were not stropped, they were not honed, they were not anything before this video. That particular NOMAD EDC, to your extreme right, is the newest of the knives. The Mount Laguna probably has the most use on it, and then the NIJUKKO on your extreme left is probably, it's not as old as the Laguna. All 3 have use on them. These are not straight out of the boxes, so the sharpness on these are even more impressive. Let's start with the NIJUKKO. That's the Puko style. It is designed by Joe Flowers. You'll recognize that name. It has a skeleton tang. The overall length is 7.8 inches. The blade length is 3.7 inches. The cutting edge is 3.6 inches, and the blade thickness is 0.145. It is a Scandi grind with a micro-convex cutting edge. Blade shapes of Puko. It's SK85, and the handle material is G10. Now, the knife weight is 4.6 ounces, so it feels pretty good in hand. The NIJUKKO, like I said, is a Puko style, and the more I use it, and that's a lot of times, guys, with any knife, the more I use the knife, the more I really enjoy it, the more you get comfortable with it, the more you kind of know your way around it. They've got 3 different styles of that, if I'm not mistaken. So I have the one with the black G10. It's very comfortable in hand. The next one we're going to give you the stats on is the NOMAD EDC. Now, I have 2 versions, one in ATS 34. This one is the N690 Cryo. Phenomenal job. The edge is held up very well. I've had it over probably 5 weeks now. Haven't had to sharpen it, really had to do anything. I've stropped it a time or 2, but that's just something I do. The knife construction is full tang. Overall length is 7.6 inches. Blade length 3.5 inches. Cutting edge is 3.5 inches. Blade thickness is 0.145 inches. It's a saber grind with a convex cutting edge. It's considered a modified Tonto. Again, it's Bowler N690 Cryo. The Rockwell on it's 59 to 61, G10, and the knife weight's 5.5 ounces. The Laguna, I can go ahead and tell you, is made out of D10. Now, let me back up. The NIJUKKO was designed by Joe Flowers. The NOMAD EDC, of course, was designed by Zeke Minacho and The NOMAD EDC just won mid-size knife of the year, according to Knife Center. Awesome knife, and I love Zeke to death. I haven't had the honor of meeting Joe yet. I'm hoping I get to do that. The Mount Laguna Wingman 115 is the designer. It is a full tang construction, 8¼ inches overall length, blade length 4 inches, cutting edge 4 inches, blade thickness is 0.196. It's a saber grind with a convex cutting edge. That's the way most work tough gears are. It is a drop point, blade steel K110, 57 to 59 on the Rockwell, and the handle materials G10. Now this one's a little heavier because it's a little thicker blade stock. The knife weight is 8.1 ounces. I have multiple videos on the NOMAD EDC. I have multiple videos on the Mount Laguna. And let me just stop there. Wingman 115, the designer of the Mount Laguna, is a phenomenal dude. He's marching to 50,000. He wants to be there by Christmas. He's very close. Guys, please, if you're not subscribed to John, if you're not subscribed to Wingman, please do so. I would appreciate it very much. Now, right here, we're doing a stab test. And again, guys, not trying to compare anything. These are 3 knives that I carry quite a bit. I wanted to show you how each held in hand. The other thing is, how did we adjust going from knife to knife to knife? What does that tell us, Gab? Well, here's the deal. 3 different blade styles, 3 different handle styles, 3 different handle lengths, blade lengths. So, are they easy to use? Well, I have extensive use on all of them again, so that's kind of a thing. But honestly, swapping between each one, kind of doing tests, and then doing the same thing again and again, but with different handle styles, different blade styles. I've got to tell you, one of the things that I love about Work Tough gear is the beauty is in the simplicity. They all come razor sharp. The heat treat, I've got probably 25 to 30 Work Tough gears. The heat treat has been spot on. I've probably put my hands on 35 Work Tough gears. Never had a chip, never had a roll. We've had deer antlers, elk antlers, whatever you want to call it. We've chopped, we've done all of that. So the heat treat's spot on. Work Tough gear, matter of fact, this NOMAD EDC is where I just started calling them pocket fixed blades. They all come with black Kydex sheaths. Now, I've got a couple custom sheaths for my NOMAD EDC, but here's the deal, guys. Here's the deal straight up. They all fit comfortably in my pocket. I carry them just like pocket knives. I don't put ulti clips on them. I don't do anything. I throw it in my pocket and I go. I do that because work necessitates that. A folder will get destroyed. A fixed blade is perfect for me. And I'm in my line of work, I sandblast and I powder coat. Folders just don't make it. So these for me are everyday carry options. They're all pretty light. Now they're all heavy, but they're all fixed blades. And I know that you said, Scab, what is it? For fixed blades, they're very light. It would be like carrying a heavier folder. That might be the better way to explain it. I love all 3 designs. Now, to me, all three knives do a little bit of everything well, right? Some stick out better in certain areas than others, and some have strong points, some have weak points. But I'd say all the way around, they all 3 handle 90% of the tasks that I need handled with a small knife. They really do. And then if you carry 2, then they cover everything. And when I say it, I'm talking about everything. All right, because sometimes we start talking about, well, I need a knife that'll do everything. There's not one made. There's just not, even a smaller knife, right? But you can have certain knives where you can handle the vast majority of your task, and I'm talking about handling them well. You know what I'm saying? These knives cover everything. While each have their own strong points, I can't really find a real weakness, maybe a lack of chopping, but, come on. Most people are going to carry a larger knife or a chopping tool with them in the woods. I would say this to you. I feel extremely confident in saying I could put one of these in my pocket, take some kind of belt knife and a chopper, and I'm good. I'm good. These things perform. All 3 hold an edge. They hold an edge because Mr. Vic has his heat treat down pat. They just do. There's no arguing that. There's a lot of things you might hear people say, but I've never heard anybody say that it's a poor heat treat. And if they did, they're just trying to find shit. I'm just telling you, because the heat treat's spot on. They all come razor sharp from Work Tough Gear. All of them. I hadn't had to, I have not, and this is all I can deal is with what's in my hand. I've not had to sharpen a single one before I used it, straight out of the box. Now, the more I use this NIJUKKO, like throughout this demonstration, the more I really like. I mean, it's a slicey thing. And if we did something with one knife, we wanted to do it with the other one. Here what we're doing, just so you know, is just kind of pushing straight down, kind of putting the blade at an angle and pushing straight down. Just like that. The dogs are agreeing. I'm sorry, they're in the background. But we're pushing straight down on 3/16 inch, 2-inch air hose. It's 2-ply. Why? Well, to see if there's any slippage in the knife, to see if there's any play in the knife. There's not. We're putting a lot of pressure on the knife. There's no give. Now, that Mount Laguna is 3/16 inches thick. That's a thick sumbitch. That NIJUKKO is nowhere near that thick, but both handled that task well because of different aspects. I wanted to mention too, the blade geometry on all three is different. So we have different blade geometries. We have different shapes, but we all have this, but they all have the same sharpness level. They all have the same heat treat, even though they're different numbers. What I'm saying is they're heat treated consistently well. No play in the blade. Now, I will say this, on the batoning, the Mount Laguna, I don't know, it was made for a lot of things, like I said, a jack of all trades knife, but batoning, that Mount Laguna to me, and I've said this often, is king. It's a hell of a knife at 3/16 inch thick. You've got a little longer blade length. There's no play in the handles. Again, all three knives handle it well. It's not what I'm saying. But that Mount Laguna, when it comes to like batoning, getting ready for a small fire, is straight up kick-ass. Which would I prefer? It's hard to say, man, because I do carry all three. And on Wednesdays, a lot of times, those are the three knives I carry. I carry a lot of knives anyway. I may not carry a folder. Like today, I didn't carry a folder except to lunch, and that was just to make a short with. But today, for actual use, I've carried these three knives. Again, it's the NIJUKKO, the one I'm using there, the Mount Laguna, and the NOMAD EDC. Now, the Stinger, the Nymph, the Clopachi, which I don't have a Clopachi, I wish I did, and the Lynx are also some great knives. But I grabbed these three. I just wanted to show you some comparisons. Do me a favor in the comments. Tell me which one you think you would like to carry best. Not which one you think's best, but hey, man, I think this would suit my needs the best. This is the NOMAD EDC. Really love this knife. Y'all know I love this knife. And I'm so proud of Zeke and Mr. Vic for getting named Mid-Size Knife of the Year. I just did a video on this one last week. That's the other thing, guys. Just a quick heads up. If you want to see either one of these knives individually, I'll put some links in the description to those videos. They all perform masterfully. Listen, I love y'all. I've kind of zipped through this thing without shout outs, but check out my community page for those, and we'll get back on those tomorrow. The big thing to remember is this: Work Tough Gear is a company that's kicking ass. They're on the rise. They're putting out quality products every day, and they're busting their ass. The other thing I really need you to remember is this: I'm Scab. You're not. Love y'all. I'm gone, son. Happy Work Tough Gear Wednesday.